So here is the full story. My wife and I have known each other since we were 4 years old. Her father and my father played football in high school together, and my father was the best man at her father's first marriage. We played together as kids and lived only 2 blocks apart. My family had an antique business and her family often came to the shows. Lisa would say she came to find me and we would walk around the grounds together. In 7th grade, her parents divorced and she moved with her mother, so I only saw her at the antique shows with her mother. We still walked around with each other. We met in high school again and she had a boyfriend. She still flirted with me at antique shows when she was not with her boyfriend. So, when she broke up with her boyfriend, our junior year, I asked her out. We dated for 3 months. She asked me to have sex with her and I said no, as I believed we needed to wait until we were married. One night during a date at the fair, she said she was staying at the fair, so I went home. A couple weeks later, she let me know she hooked up with a carny and became pregnant. I told her I would help her, but she said she would take care of it and she was not ready for a steady relationship. We obviously broke up. We kept meeting at antique shows where she would ask me to walk around with her. She even started helping my parents as a ticket taker when my parents started running shows. My wife continued to flirt with me despite being with various boyfriends. I went off to college after graduating. When I was home one Christmas, my sophomore year, I ran into her and she asked me for a ride home. I took her home and we talked. She again flirted with me and tried to get more physical, but I still told her no. I went home and she called me a couple days later. I called her a couple weeks later to ask her to help out my mom as a ticket taker, and she told me she couldn't as she just had a baby. She asked me to come up. I went to her house and saw her and the baby. She confessed that she had always loved me, but she always thought I was too good for her. We talked and started dating again. After a year of dating, she broke down and told me if I really loved her, I would have sex with her. I figured we were engaged, so it was okay, and then 2 weeks later, she told me she was pregnant. At the time, one of her male friends asked my wife if the kids was his. I thought it was a bad joke, but after all that happened, I'm not sure anymore. We got married and I adopted her daughter. I thought we had a happy relationship. Everyone said we were a perfect couple, and her girlfriends said how lucky she was to have me to take care of her. After 7 years, her father died, and we were moving to a new state for work. She contacted the same carny she slept with when we were in high school and started cheating with him. She created elaborate lies, and after we moved to the state, she moved out to live with him. We both saw divorce lawyers, and basically, I was told I could lose my kids. After 4 months, he kicked her out because he did not like her lack of basic housekeeping skills or having to take care of her children. She apologized and stated she was so sorry, so we got back together. She was again pregnant with his child. We kept this information from everyone. We moved again, and after about 5 years, one of her friends started cheating on her husband and introduced my wife to online hookup sites. My wife denied going on the sites, but when I found her emails that she was using and looked it up, she admitted that she was on the sites, but she denied having any affairs. She was just there to chat about S&M, as I was not into that. We moved again and I suspected she was cheating several times. One time when we were moving again, she stated she was stressed and needed to stay with a friend. I told her not to leave and that I needed her help with prepping for the move, as we had to be out the next day. She kissed me, told me she loved me, and then left. I found out 3 months ago that she left to go sleep with another man. I did everything and we were able to move again. I found another hidden email account of hers, and when confronted, she admitted to being on site but denied cheating. I told her to open it up and let me read it then to confirm she's just talking. She said no, so I packed my stuff and walked out the door. Our youngest daughter came running and begged me not to leave, so I went back in the house. My wife and I went to counseling a couple times. 3 months ago, we had a fight. She admitted to being on online sites for 8 years. I made a comment asking how many men she slept with. If it was once a year, it was 8. If it was one a month, it was 96. If it was once a week, it was 416 men. She responded without thinking that it was just 2, not counting the Kani I knew about, so it was not that bad. This was when I found out that she left me to sleep with a guy when I and the family needed her help to move. She said she had not cheated on me in 13 years, so I needed to get over it. So I know that 2 of my 4 children are definitely not mine biologically, and possibly a third is not mine biologically, and that my wife cheated on me over a 15-year period with 3 men, and they were long-term relationships that ended due to us moving. She claims to not have cheated in over 13 years. I stayed before because of the kids. I didn't want them growing up in a slum or not being taken care of. I did all the cleaning, cooking, tucked the kids into bed when they were little, and generally took care of them. I still help them out financially even though they are adults. They are now all out of school, and so it is just my wife and I, though our youngest son, the one she had while cheating with a Kenny lover, and his wife and kids moved in with us due to losing his apartment and job. I am gutted that she could do this to me when I was the perfect husband. She even said I was perfect, and when I asked why, all she ever said is, "I don't know." I suspected all this time and stayed, but now that I know, I want to walk away. She is the only woman I have ever slept with, and I worked hard to have the fairy tale life that everyone who sees us thinks we have. However, it is all a facade. I feel I wasted all my love and devotion to a woman who will just as easily find another guy and never have another thought about me. Story 2. Me, 33 male, and wife, 31 female, of 10 years, with 2 daughters, 9 female and 8 female. 5 years ago, I had an affair, and we've been going to marriage counseling for 5 years. My wife, however, feels it is right to let our kids know now or at some point that I did have an affair, but I am against this. Okay, I'm getting ready for a lot of hate with this one. My wife and I have been married for 10 years, and I love her. You may not believe that because of my past actions, but as of this moment, I do feel I am in love with her. We have 2 daughters whom I incredibly love and am proud of. They are my pride and joy in life. 5 years ago, I did the worst mistake of my life. I had an affair. I will not try to excuse or justify it because there is no excuse or justification. It started during a strained period in our marriage when we were fighting frequently and we had gone a long period without any sex. My affair went on for 3 months. It started as an emotional affair with one of the younger office workers at my work, and from there, it grew into a full-blown sexual affair. Nobody knew. It all ended after someone else from work caught us, for which I should probably thank them since it was what brought the affair to an end. Another girl from the office saw us together after hours in the women's bathroom and took a picture, and then used the picture to try to blackmail me by threatening to tell my wife. What I did is, I told HR about the blackmail, got her fired, and then came clean to my wife about everything. Everything. I was expecting it will all end there. I thought my marriage, family, everything would end at that point, and I would have deserved it if it had. I basically pleaded for forgiveness, and told her I was ready to do everything she required of me. We actually did separate for a few weeks, and then we did get back together. I am lucky she was willing to forgive me, but we've been going to marriage counseling continuously for the past 5 years, and I think we've made it work. Our marriage is relatively happy and stable again. Our family is together, and our sex life is healthy and normal. We were able to work over many issues over the years, but I am incredibly thankful to my wife for giving me another chance. I know I didn't deserve a chance, but she says the reason she stayed with me is because, above all, she still loved me, even after she found out I had cheated. And she said she was also thinking of our daughters. She knew a divorce would have a big impact. We are still going to marriage counseling, and we still occasionally feel the after effect of my affair, but our marriage is somewhat stable again. Dare I say, more stable than it was before the affair. My wife received a lot of support during the initial period from her friends and family. She told her sister and some of her friends that I had cheated, which I understand, and they too did hate me for a while, though I believe they have forgiven me now and my relationship with her sister is normal. That is, there are no outward expressions of hatred from her to me, and she is nice to me. However, recently my wife asked me what if our children ever know about the affair. I told her I felt it was in their best interest that they didn't know about it. My wife feels that they should know, and it's not right to keep it hidden from them, as they might find out from someone else one day. She says it's better they know now or one day in the future in an environment where we can both explain it to them properly. I told her I really don't want them to know because it's something I feel incredibly ashamed of, and I know it will destroy their image of me. I don't know if it's dishonest or not, but for personal reasons, I'd rather my daughters not know. And I also feel it's better for them if they don't know. They don't need to be stressed with the burden of that knowledge. I said I didn't really see any reason why our daughters should know. My wife and I disagreed about it, but we agreed we will discuss it again before we do anything like that. I still feel like I don't see a reason why they should know, and I'm struggling to understand why my wife would want to tell them. Is there anything I can do to better understand why my wife wants to tell them? Is she right for wanting to tell them? Is telling my daughters that I did have an affair the right thing to do, or am I right and we should not burden them with that unnecessary information which will just stress them out and dampen their image of their father? TLDR. 5 years ago, I had an affair and cheated on my wife. We've been going to marriage counseling for the past 5 years, and our marriage is mostly healed from that wound and stable again. However, we have 2 daughters, 9 and 8, and my wife feels it's necessary to let them know now or one day about the fact that I had an affair. Personally, I am against this and feel it is unnecessary to tell them, as it will do more harm and little good. What should we do? Thank you for watching.